My name is Linda, and this is Kelly, and you are watching the Grow Curriculum Deep Dive for the series City of Angels from Grow Kids Volume 6. We are super excited about this series, especially because it's a Christmas series with an unlikely twist and theme, so I think y'all are going to enjoy it so much. So, for this deep dive, we're going to give you a big picture look at City of Angels and all the different things that you can expect as you're teaching it, but also we are going to be giving you an in-depth look at some of the particulars that you might really not want to miss.
And you're probably wondering what Linda and I are wearing, right? So, City, Angels, we decided to go literal. So, Linda is a city girl, right? And I am an angel. Do you like my halo?
Halo, love it.
Halo. So pretty. Hey, friends, welcome to the deep dive. If you are a Grow user, our goal is to give you a head start in preparing for this series. And if you're not a Grow user, as always, feel free to steal some of these ideas. So, in case you're new to our deep dives, here's what we do. First, Linda and I are going to give you an overview of the series. Then we look at the theme, then the structure, and finally we end with some tips so that you have everything you need to get ready for City of Angels.
So, City of Angels is a series all about Christmas, and more specifically, we're looking at the different appearances of angels throughout the story of Jesus being born, hence, City of Angels. So, we're going to start off in week 1 with the story of how an angel appeared to Zechariah in Luke chapter 1 and how the angel announced that a son would be born to him and his wife Elizabeth. And even though they didn't really know it yet, we can see how the stage is being set for Jesus to come into this world shortly after. So that's why this week's big idea is Jesus is God's plan.
Then in week 2, we continue the story in Luke chapter 1 to see how the exact same angel appeared to Mary to tell her that she would have a son. As scary as this news must have been, her fears turned into joy when she embraces her role in the Savior's birth. So, though she hadn't met him yet, she would agree that this week's big idea is that Jesus calms our fears.
And that brings us to week 3. And this time we're looking at Matthew chapter 1. And kids get to hear about how Joseph gets a visitation as well from an angel in his dream. Even though at first he had planned to leave Mary when he found out about the baby because of societal pressures and whatnot, an angel shows up in his dream to assure him that yes, things are going to be different, but it's also going to be wonderful. So this week's big idea is Jesus makes everything new.
And finally, in week 4, kids hear the story of Jesus finally being born in Luke 2 and how a host of angels appeared to the shepherds to tell them the good news. Just like how everyone is invited to celebrate the birth of God's Son, this week's big idea reminds us all that Jesus is God's love for everyone.
And our memory verse for the month comes from that last Bible passage that Kelly was mentioning. It's Luke chapter 2, verse 10. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all people." This month's decorating theme is urban cities because the series is called City of Angels, so of course it's inspired in part by Los Angeles. Heyo, represent. One thing that we have a lot in the streets of LA are these angel wings murals, which are really cool and really fascinating. So you for sure want to incorporate that somehow into your space with some really cool angel wings that it doesn't have to look really professional or anything like that. As long as kids get the idea, it will just be a fun look and it'll be a great photo spot for everybody too. But as always, we have many more ideas for you in our programming guide for how you can bring in some of those city elements and just mix it up with your usual Christmas decorating because, again, it is a Christmas series. So, Kelly, can you give us a sneak peek of some of the things we can recommend for this series?
Yes, because who doesn't love Christmas? It's the most wonderful time of the year. I certainly love it. And the City of Angels is such a unique theme that will have everybody excited for a non traditional Christmas series. So, the first thing in our programming guide is fake brick photo backdrop. So easy to put up, So easy to take down, really inexpensive way that you can transform your space. And like Linda was saying, if you want to add some angel wings, you can have somebody paint it. You could use markers. You could even do something like black tape and creating a cityscape of rectangles and squares on the backdrop to be able to create a skyline. Now, this series is called City of Angels, so of course, we have to have all the angel wings that we could possibly get our hands on. In the programming guide, we give you links to rainbow angel wings, light up angel wings, and there are endless possibilities of what you could do with these. And we all know that my personal favorite is snack, right? So we love snacks in kids ministry, and we suggest for this series that you make these adorable angel snack bags. These can be made at church and taken home for a sweet treat later. You could even have kids give them away as Christmas presents. And if you are looking for something a little easy with low prep, of course, grab yourself some red and green holiday M&Ms because they're delicious also.
Yes, absolutely. And completely on theme because, again, it's Christmas. So we're going to have so much fun with this. I love all of those ideas so much. And yes, to all the angel wings, please. Thank you, Kelly. And make sure you once again check out the programming guide, our Pinterest board. There are so many ideas in there you do not want to skip. And you can also get some crazy cool ideas for prizes and giveaways as well. Now we want to give you a look at the structure of City of Angels. Now, if you have been using Grow for some time, then you'll know that some things always stay the same, like our teaching series are always broken up into three major sections: the what section, the so what section, and the now what section. In the what section is how we introduce kids to what we're talking about today. That includes the theme, some fun, high energy activities, music, some questions and polls to get their minds thinking about what we're doing today. And then we transition to the so what section, which is our Bible teaching and object lessons and big idea reveal. This is where kids learn the main story and then kind of learn more deeply about what it means. And then we go into the now what section, which is our application section, where now that they know what the story means, they can think about, like, well, what does it call them to do about it? What are some practical action steps that they can take with this information they've been given?
So, while that umbrella structure stays the same throughout our curriculum, within each series, we use a bunch of different things called building blocks to help make each teaching series unique. That's what we're going to talk about right now. So, Linda, tell us, what are some of the fun things from the structure of City of Angels?
For City of Angels, there are quite a few recurring segments that makes the series super special because we do have recurring segments in every teaching series, but the ones in City of Angels are just so heartwarming. You're gonna love it. So those are our opening activities, the reflection module, and the memory verse module.
I'm very excited to hear more about them. So, for a little bit of background, in the what section, we usually open up each week's teaching with some activities that gets kids curious about what they're going to learn for the day. So, they can be anything from games and icebreakers to crafts. So, Linda, tell us what these opening activities are for this month.
So, to hype kids up and set them up for what they're going to be learning each week in City of Angels, they will do the following two activities every week. And now, before you're like, why are you giving me the same thing every week? Kids actually do enjoy and sometimes appreciate repetition. And this repetition is different because they're going to be doing, while it's kind of basically the same thing, it's going to look different every week. So, let me tell you what that means. The first activity is called Angels We Have Hidden on High. So fun with the pun. So what we're doing with this activity is it's kind of like Elf on the Shelf. You can get like an angel tree topper or like an angel plush, and you're going to place it in different places around the room each week, and you're going to put little artifacts with it that we tell you in the curriculum itself. And that artifact, so when kids locate it and they see what artifact it's pointing to, or it's like right next to or sitting on top of, it's going to lead into a discussion of what today's topic might be. So it's great because the kids get to be like little sleuths and try to figure out what they're going to be doing. And having curious kids is not a bad thing. And the second thing is called Uncover the Art. So basically, it's crayon resist art. So you're going to give them this angel wing printable every week, and on it, in advance you want to write out these words that we tell you inside the teaching lesson, and kids are going to have to like paint over it or just so that they can reveal it. And I know for some of you, you're like, I have like 80 kids in my ministry. How am I going to make this work? So I suggest for like upper graders, you can just have it write themselves and they can swap papers, right? Or you can recruit a lot of people to help you. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do it. Or you can create like a big one. It doesn't have to be the tiny printable. You can do a big one and then have everybody work together to reveal the big idea, or not the big idea, the special word for this segment. And so to keep things like not stale, you're like, I want it to be interesting. You could also use different media every week. So one week they're painting with watercolor, the next week they're using markers, the following week they're using crayons and color pencils and finger stamps. So I think you'll just have a lot of fun with this, and it'll be a really great way to set them up for like, okay, guys, this is what we're talking about today.
That sounds like a really exciting what section. I love repetition. I think both of those sound fabulous. So, in the now what section, we often include a reflection module where kids can really think about what they just heard. It often calls them to think about what it means for their lives and to get them to start thinking about some action steps that they can take from what they've just learned. So, Linda, tell us what kind of reflection we're going to do with this series.
So in this series, we are doing a reflection module building block called One Word Project every week. And so you're going to be passing out blank Christmas cards or postcards or index cards, what have you, and have kids write one word that will help them remember today's Bible story. And so this is actually really simple, but it's really challenging because they have to be able to condense everything that they heard into one word. And some of them will pull the word right out of a big idea, and some of them will say something like purple, and we don't know why, but it means something to them. And I think that is what's going to help make it stick for them. So you're going to afterwards have them encourage them to decorate the card and make it colorful so that it becomes a fun little keepsake.
That is so simple. And again, repetition is great for kids, right? So, the other thing that we want to share with you is that if you want to save a little money, instead of handing out new cards each week, basically you can give kids the same card each week and then collect it back once they're done with the activity. That way, at the end of the lesson, each kid has one card with all of the words that they wrote out, and they can then remember what they learned in each week of the series.
I think that's a great idea, and they can go home with like a nice little Christmas card that they wrote to themselves with all the words. I think that's really cool.
So, the last module that we want to talk about is the memory verse module. We provide one memory verse for the entire month for both preschool and elementary, but in order for kids to remember them better, we suggest helping kids practice the memory verse in dynamic and interesting ways.
Yes, and since it's City of Angels, we're doing memory verse practice with a little bit of an urban twist. So in week one, we suggest doing bucket drumming, which is very low cost, just really easy to do, and it doesn't even have to be perfect. Like they don't need to be able to keep like a real beat as long as they're making noises with it. And so as they're doing the drumming, they're going to be chanting the memory verse like kind of like a call and response with you. Yeah, but be prepared for that to get super noisy. So you might want to regulate how you do this activity. The second one we're doing in week two, memory verse practice with the city twist is hopscotch. And so we provided these printables that has the words of the memory verse on it. So what you want to do is, you play hopscotch, you throw a little token onto like a box, and then they hop through this grid, right, without stepping in the box where their token landed on. But here's like challenge level hopscotch is instead of throwing rocks or tokens or anything like that, you can cover up one of the boxes. And so they have to say the memory verse as they hop through, but they have to recall that flipped over part from memory. And so like by the end of this exercise, all of the boxes will be turned over and they'll be memorizing it as they hop through. And I think that'd be really fun. In week three, we have this thing called Christmas red light, green light. It's like a city traffic edition. So basically, you're putting street signs around the room, and we provided these printables for you as well. So you can actually print them out or project them however you want to do it. So when the music stops, they have to go to the sign that is the first part of the member. So they're just kind of like roaming around, pretending they're being bumper cars or whatever. And then the music stops, they go to the first part. And then the music starts again, they roam around again, and then the music stops and they have to find the next part of the memory verse. So they're just migrating around this little city until they collect all the memory verse signs. For non and pre readers in your group, you want to maybe number them and then have a leader recite that part with them when they arrive at the sign so they can participate fully as well. And finally, in week four, we were doing jump rope because I just love watching kids play jump rope. I think that's just so fun, and I used to love that as a kid. I wasn't very good, but it was very fun. So we're gonna have people turn, probably leaders, to turn the jump rope, and they're gonna like jump with each word of the memory verse, and then it'll be a cool challenge to see who can get through the entire verse without stepping on the rope. So that'll be really fun.
Linda, all of those sound so much fun. I cannot wait to see my kids do these, but I also am very amped to see my leaders do it, right? I'm going to have my leaders do bucket drumming, hopscotch, and I'm going to see if any of my leaders can double dutch. I wonder if they can, but double dutch and say the memory verse at the same time. You might have to have a prize for a leader who can do that. I don't know.
Absolutely.
So make sure, in addition to these, you also check out our memory verse sign language. So now that we've covered the overview and the theme and the structure of City of Angels, we have a few miscellaneous tips for you to help you make the most out of this series.
So, the first tip we have for you is to steal some ideas from the preschool curriculum. Now, some of you are expert Grow users. You know where everything is better than I do sometimes, but some of you might not even know that we have a preschool track. So, make sure you go and investigate that preschool folder because it is full of wonderful activities that can totally work for elementary too. And I just want to shout out to our good friend Crystal, who wrote the preschool series for City of Angels and just is an absolute genius and delight. So check out these activities, okay? For the big idea reveal in City of Angels for preschool, kids are getting in a cardboard box car, and it's nothing fancy, just cardboard box, and they honk horns and they count down until you reveal the big idea sign, which we present to you in the form of a printable that you can print or project. That'd be really fun to do for elementary. Maybe not with all the honking horns or anything like that. But it would be really fun for kids to do as well, elementary kids to do as well. And the second activity is called city mapping, and they are going to be designing a different city scene based on the prompts we give you each week. But then they're going to make these really cute, colorful angels out of tangrams, which I think would be really fun for elementary kids to figure out how to do. For preschool, we're providing the image and they just have to place the tangram like shapes on top of it. But for elementary kids, it'll be a fun challenge for them to figure out how to make these shapes out of tangrams. And so go ahead and look at what you can take from preschool and bring it into elementary as well.
For tip number 2, we want you to consider pairing this series with our Christmas Campout event. Now, this is for all of you Grow users who have the Grow Your Kids Ministry subscription. Since this is the most wonderful time of the year, see if you can tie in this series with the Christmas event, Christmas Campout. Feel free to take a look at the Christmas Campout giveaways and prize lists for additional ideas that you could use on Sundays as well.
So I think that is perfect if you do choose to do the Christmas campout event because Christmas campout is an indoor camping event. And so that's really the only way to do camping in the city. So I think that would work perfectly. Anyway, as always, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive and you feel sufficiently prepared to teach it. But you are never limited to the things we say in here because we know you are so creative and experienced, and we would love to hear and learn from you as well. So make sure you reach out to us, tag us on Instagram, find us on Facebook. You can search for us on Stuff You Can Use, a children's ministry community, and just share all the wonderful things you're doing this Christmas to enhance your ministry, to connect with your kids and your families and your whole church.
In addition to sharing all of the ideas and the things that your kids create, if you are in need of help, feel free to reach out to a growth strategist, myself, or David. You can find us in the Facebook communities. You can also always catch us on email. It's David at Stuff You Can Use or Kelly at stuffyoucanuse.org. And we will see you guys soon.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely Christmas.